Well, hello everybody. Welcome to our Grievance End of the Year cast, where we're gonna just talk about everything that has to do with the end of the year. Dirt Dog's ducking out. He's like, "Oh no, we're not."
Run away!
Drop my wrist guard.
He's all, "We're live." Oh no. Okay, so we have a bunch of people here with us.
Oh, wow.
Many you've seen. Yeah, I know. Now you see it on the screen. So I'm Dashiva. We have Steelheart next to me. Then we have Thaman, Liette, Dirt Dog. He's new to our cast.
Yes, I am.
Yes, Nautica, and Night Angel. Everyone, say hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Yay! So you might recognize most of us from some of our casts, either the EverQuest cast or Wildstar, or what else do we do? Star Citizen and
Star Citizen.
just starting Final Fantasy. But today we're just going to talk about some of our favorite MMOs from the year, since we are all part of the same guild in Grievance. We'll talk about what our favorites were, what Grievance as a guild, what were maybe the most successful and most popular this year, and what we're looking forward to next year and beyond that. And so I guess we can get right underway here. So guys, we can all say it at the same time. What was our favorite MMOs from this year?
Rift.
Boo.
Oh, that's tough.
Which wasn't, of course, started this year, but became free to play this year.
Yes, I did jump in.
That was probably one of the best free-to-plays I think I've seen coming. Going from a sub to a free-to-play.
Yeah, I think so.
It's been really smooth.
Huge resurgence in players on that one. Huge.
Mhm.
They're just judging by the recruitment and grievance alone. It's unbelievable the amount of people who have come back to Rift, given another shot since it's gone free to play.
Mhm.
We typically get over 30 members a night on prime time, and we still tend to keep a lot of folks on, even at least a dozen folks on middle of the night.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, what about
That's
you?
impressive.
What about you, Nautica? What MMO did you play most this year? What was your...
Most, I would have to say probably Battlefield 4. I put most of my time into.
I said MMO.
Fail.
MMO FPS. No.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. The technical...
Besides that, I would have to say I put a lot of time into Defiance, if that counts.
Yeah.
And then lately I've been putting a lot of time back into WoW, I guess, playing with my wife. So
Okay,
Those
that's
two.
always good. That's always good. How about you, Night Angel?
Well, I spent the first half of the year as the guild leader for Guild Wars 2, so I spent majority of my time there, and then ever since then I've been kind of floating since August. But I have been back into Rift, so there's that.
Okay, there's the Rift again.
Mhm.
What about Liette?
Well, I spent most of my time in Star Wars: The Old Republic and tried to be a decent healer. They told me I did okay. Not too many people died on my watch, so yeah. And then checked out Final Fantasy for a while, but since stepping out of Star Wars full time, I've just kind of been bouncing. Really looking forward to EQ next. So
Yeah.
please, Alpha soon, please.
Yeah, really.
So our
No doubt.
our newbie, Dirt Dog.
Well, I mean, I really don't play too many MMOs. I'm more on the FPS side, but I guess you would consider Defiance the MMO that I played the most this year.
Yeah.
And then, like Nautica said, BF4. I just float around.
Yeah.
That's my job.
There you go. And you, Steel.
Luckily, yeah, I spent pretty much first half of the year playing Star Wars: The Old Republic. Enjoyed it. And then, like Nautica, I've been playing a bunch of BF4.
Everyone's just waiting for the MMO, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so when we look back at just maybe as Grievance and maybe Steel and Liette have a better gauge on this than most of us, but as far as successful MMOs for Grievance, what would you say were some of the biggest MMOs launched this year?
This year.
This year, 2013.
Well, hands down, Neverwinter was our biggest launch.
Yes.
I think that when everything was said and done, we had 800 and something people register for that game between 3 months prior to
800?
launch.
That was a
800.
lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people.
Mhm.
3 months prior to launch up to today. Now, of course, some people didn't find it to their liking, so they dropped out. So you got to account for that. The guild can only be up to 500, but they filled that up fast,
Quick.
real quick. But as people either fell out of love with the game or, always real life happens too, then they just kept on putting in more people. But I could pull up the figures, but I guarantee you it's right around 800 people total.
Yeah.
They had to start taking people out who hadn't been online in a certain amount of time just to make room because they had people still waiting to get a guild invite.
Yeah.
It was massive for us.
Yeah, that was the game I came in on. I joined Grievance on Neverwinter, and I was one of those ones that played for about a month, and then I got kicked out right away because I didn't play for like a week, and then I logged back in, and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Bad.
And then I started
Happened
doing
to me
video
too, it's
casts.
okay.
I got bored, and I started doing video casts.
Yeah, I see in the channel, Lord Scythe is, all for Neverwinter 2. He's probably expecting us to bring that up as one of the first things.
Neverwinter.
I guess one of the other big ones, which was kind of a surprise to me personally, was Final Fantasy: A Realm Reborn. We were skeptical of the relaunch of it because the first launch that it had really fell pretty flat, and it was really surprising that it really took off like it did, and it's still a very viable and popular game with Grievance.
Well, we'd had it slated to be just an embassy. We thought it would be more of a niche game, and all of a sudden we had this blossom of recruits come out of the woodwork, and it was great. So, full-on guild, they're still super active and rating and surpassed all our expectations. So, been 2 huge launches, and given these are, the 2 newest games for us, I can't imagine what next year is going to be like with WildStar and EQN and Elder Scrolls. We're in for a ride.
Yes, definitely. And as for me, my favorite, I think, was Neverwinter. Even though I'd only played it for like a month or so, like something about that combat, like the way that because I don't like action combat all that much with some of these games, but for the feel in Neverwinter, besides the healing, there's something about the way they did it that just made it feel like you were really tanking right still, or
it's the most immersive tanking I've ever done.
Yeah,
it was really, really immersive as far as tanking. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, definitely. Final Fantasy was okay, but it's too shiny
Not
for
your
me.
favorite.
No, not my
Too
favorite.
shiny. Most people will gravitate and flock to the shinies, not Dash.
Yes, no, I don't like it.
Run away!
The only
away,
shiny,
shiny!
the only shinies I like are EverQuest 2. Those are my shinies. I like to pick
Those
apart.
are
like
go
Rift
back
shinies.
go back to Rift. There's shinies and collections everywhere.
That's what
and
I'm saying. I'm all about the shinies and Rift.
Yeah.
Just
following
next
someone down the road, and
artifact.
all of a sudden they're shiny.
Exactly.
When I was in, I don't know if I say this, but I can. When I was in the alpha and like the beta for Rift, and when they added shinies in, I was just like blown away. I was like, oh, this is gonna be the greatest game ever because they figured out that the best thing about EverQuest 2 was shinies, and now they have them.
Oh, that wasn't the best thing. Oh, shame on you.
Okay.
Entire raid groups would wipe.
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody ran off and got a shiny.
Exactly.
My
Well,
favorite.
That was the shiny addict's fault, not
Yeah.
the shiny.
But everybody was a shiny addict. We'd all fight over it. We're all clicking. We're like,
Well, that's how Rift was. We all do, like when we went to Gloamwood. I remember this specifically in Steelheart when he was leading the good side on Rift. When we would all run in to do Gloamwood to spawn the big rifts, we would run in there and like half of us would be following the line, going up the path. The next thing you know, 5 of us split off in 5 different directions with shinies. Like, oh,
Yeah.
shiny!
It's bad because you'd hear, "Oh, a shiny." It's like, no, wait, no.
No. Yep,
See,
that was fun.
they do.
And then I'd get this officer whisper, "Can you go find them? Because seriously, I'm about to lose my mind." So I'd go running. Hey guys. I know you see another one, but you got to stop.
It
Just
was
say
like
no.
a rabbit trail.
Say
You start
no.
at one.
They've even made some events recently, even back in their Harvest Festival, where you could actually find a bunch of shinies if you're doing these quests, And so our guild bank has been full of them. People constantly take them in. Now, how many collections have I completed? Handful. There are
Yep.
so many out there.
Yeah,
There are a lot.
see, but shinies, they're pretty cool in Rift, but like in EverQuest 2, like you could level your character from like 1 to 50 by turning in shinies. Like how cool?
Good grief.
Yeah.
How cool
Yeah.
is that? Okay, but totally off topic. But shinies are good. So, as far as next year, we have a lot of MMOs coming up, and Battlefield 4 is already launched. But what are we looking forward to next year? First, you, Steel. And I know what you're supposed to say, but what do you...
Well, I am actually looking for EverQuest next landmark. It's just because it's different. It's Sony's trying something different with this game, kind of going out of the box from the normal way MMOs are set up, and I'm really looking forward to it. A chance to build something great, do something great. I think it's going to be a really good game. It could be one of those games that redirect the genre a little bit, kind of get it back on track.
Yeah.
Now, in my opinion, back on track. We won't get into that, but
Well, because that's the one I'm looking forward to, obviously, the most, is EverQuest Next, or Landmark at least, because I don't think we expect Next to launch next year. But, like, how different it's going to be playing with our whole guild in a building MMO. Like, okay, like, this isn't EverQuest that we're expecting right now, but, like, it's definitely going to be a change of pace compared to everything that's coming out.
it's
right now.
going to be neat. It's going to be real neat.
Yeah.
And there's going to be some amazing things that are going to be done in that game.
Yeah, definitely. So what about you, Thaman?
Seeing the add on, we'll have that landmark before next, so we'll have that fun of the building beforehand.
Yeah. So, your favorite,
Yeah,
though?
I suppose I'm most looking forward to Elder Scrolls Online. Definitely more interested in EQ Next than I was. They have made an awesome presentation, but I was only a fan with like Skyrim. That's when I got into Elder Scrolls. But Elder Scrolls Online is looking pretty nice. I'm eager for more information for it. I'm eager for if the next day that beta invite might arrive or something. and now at least we have a release date.
So you're saying you're interested in Elder Scrolls?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
Well, and Alpha
we need a
for
guild
Star
leader.
Citizen,
We need a
but
guild
that's
leader,
all we're
so,
getting at for. Yeah, Star Citizen I'm interested too, but that one technically isn't until 2015. All we'll have is the Alpha modules to play around with.
Okay.
See, but we'll be doing this at the end of next year, and you can say, Star Citizen!
More Star Citizen, and we'll be saying EverQuest Next. And then we'll be talking about how terrible, whatever MMO that came out. And
Yeah.
I don't know. Who knows?
Always have something to gripe about.
But as far as Star Citizen, because we all know you're looking forward to that since you do the Star Citizen cast. What do we expect to see from Star Citizen, at least like playable, in 2014?
Well, we're still going to have the dogfight module come out pretty soon, and for a lot of folks, that's going to be some big entertainment right there. Be able to take the ships that we bought, and just a head-to-head. It helps them balance out the eventual space combat, and eventually the alpha module for the dogfighting is what's going to be in the main game, kind of like your hangar video game. So you can just go in and have a lot of fun, the video game inside the game there too.
Okay.
So last show we kind of showed how they've how they made things as far as blowing ships apart, and that looked pretty neat.
Yeah. But is that the only module that will hopefully come out in 2014, or?
The planetary module was slated for spring. I would not be surprised if that gets delayed a little bit, but there was the planetary, and gosh, I'm forgetting. There was going to be something else. They were going to attach in something else at the end of the year. Originally, they even thought they might get into beta at the end of the year, but we'll kind of see. That's a ways off.
Okay, they need another $20 million, and then they can do beta.
Good grief.
It has been amazing what it is taking out for like around shooting for the 36 million right now, and that's just amazing. They've raked in that amount of money.
Yeah, and that's like 1% of Star Wars, the Old Republic's money they spent on their MMO.
Really? Wow.
No, I don't
It's
know.
a pricey
but
game.
Oh,
Yeah.
about 10%.
Yeah, about 10% of what they spent. And
If the rumors
yeah.
are true.
yes, if the rumors are true. All right, Nautica, what are you looking forward to next year?
The number one game I'm looking forward to next year is going to have to be The Division. I think it's going to be a new wave of FPS, mixing a lot of the RPG elements into the game, having stat trees or talent trees in there, and plus putting the survival edge to it. So if you die, you lose everything. So it's going to be a very team-oriented game, but I think it's going to be these DayZ and WarZ Survivor games are starting to become the new wave for the FPS genre right now. And I think The Division, or Ubisoft, I'll say, putting a Tom Clancy title on it and making it a AAA game, I think is going to be going to surprise a lot of people out there. I think in the gaming world.
Can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Night Angel.
All right, I've kind of jumped on the WildStar bandwagon, and my husband behind me, he's actually interested in it as well. So I think I'll be mostly playing that. I do have some interest in ESO. How I'm gonna balance 2 subs right now, I don't know. And then of course there's Landmarks, so there's at least that one's free to play.
Yeah, it's gonna be free once it launches.
Yeah, so hopefully, I don't know how I'm gonna balance everything out, but I do have interest in those 3 games, but
We always find a
probably
way,
most
right?
likely. Oh yeah, yeah, gamers find a way.
Yes, exactly.
Always.
But then we're gonna
Yeah.
then it's gonna be like
Much
You
June.
don't need
to
that
my wife's
kidney.
dismay.
It's gonna
No.
be like it's gonna be like June, and we're gonna be like, man, I'm bored. I don't have any of this.
Hopefully not.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
hope not.
Yeah,
Oh,
hopefully we'll have
I don't
like,
want to go through another year like that.
I
Oh,
know.
I've did that once. That's not fun.
Hopefully we'll have like a whole continent of Grievance, and we're still trying to build like a continent-sized castle or something on Grievance.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Steelheart has his way, yes.
Yes. Yes.
At least that's something about subscriptions, though. A lot of these, somewhere between $10-15 a month. If you consider what a person might spend just going to one movie and buying some popcorn, all of a sudden MMOs do look like one of your cheapest forms of entertainment for the hours you invest in it.
Oh, definitely.
Oh
like
hell yeah!
Absolutely.
I spent $60 yesterday for a family of 4 to see The Hobbit.
hmm Well, see, and we don't have cable or satellite, so like MMOs and gaming is our entertainment.
That's all
So.
you need.
Wow, girl.
Yeah.
You're not- Leah,
Wow.
We do watch shows. Don't get me wrong. We
yeah,
do
you
watch
got,
our
that's
shows.
what you got the internet for. You watch Netflix
Exactly.
and
Girl.
Hulu, and
Exactly.
that's how we roll too. So,
You're brave. I need my HBO.
oh.
I didn't say I went without shows.
HBO, your Game of Thrones.
Just not cable.
All right, Liette, what are you most looking forward to next year?
Of course, EverQuest Next Landmark and EverQuest Next. I'm gonna be in there with Steel leading, and it will be absolutely awesome. I can't wait to see what they have come up with for this franchise, and I love the building aspect. It's amazing how versatile that engine is so far, and I can't wait to get my hands on it and just play with it like Play-Doh. It'll be great. So that and getting our community back together in one of the biggest games for us, being the EverQuest franchise. We started in EQ1. I joined Grievance in EQ2. It's absolutely appropriate, and we know that EverQuest Next is going to be big for us. So I can't wait to get in there and see everybody and, play with some old faces again. It'll be awesome.
Yeah, definitely. And Dirt Dog, what are you looking forward to?
Biggest game I'm looking forward to, like Nautica, is The Division, but he already talked about that, so I'll pretty much the next game I would say.
That could be the game you're
I
looking
mean-
forward to. It's okay.
I mean, I'm looking forward to it, but that's not coming out until like the end. Like, no, we're talking about November, December of next year. But until that time, I think the big game will be Titanfall. It's a game that's made by the people who developed the original Call of Duty and Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare when it was actually good. Because Call of Duty is terrible now.
Yeah.
But it's
You know-
basically. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
One of my favorite games is the first Medal of Honor Allied Assault,
Mhm.
which was their first game.
Yeah, it was their
Remember-
first game before
their
that.
first game,
Yep.
and I was like, "Oh, this is awesome!" And then I couldn't, and I was younger then. And I was like, I couldn't figure out why the next game was terrible.
I know.
And then it's like, oh, they moved on. They made
moved
Call
on
of,
to-
yeah, they moved on to make Call of Duty and said, oh, okay, this makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, Titanfall, I like what they're doing with it. I mean, it's kind of half mech play. So people who are into mech assault and games like that could really, really like that. Part Unreal Tournament, part Call of Duty, part Battle. It's got elements of everything like all into one. So
Yeah.
that's a big game that I'm looking for. But yeah, the Division hands down, because I'm big on the survival gameplay with War Z, Daisy, all those games. I think that's the #1 game I'm looking forward to.
Awesome. Okay, so now we're going to put on little thinking caps, and we're going to predict.
Oh man, you didn't tell me I had to think.
Yeah, you got to
I
think.
got mine on.
You got to think.
He's been drinking.
Gotta
That's
think.
mean.
What do you think, not what you hope, but what do you think is going to be the biggest MMO launch of 2013?
EQN. Are you kidding?
Really?
I think it's going to be a toss-up
You
between
think
WildStar and
Landmark-
EQN.
I don't.
You think Landmark's going
WildStar-
to beat out
No
WildStar?
offense.
WildStar doesn't have the potential that
Yeah.
EverQuest Next has because of the history behind it.
Yep.
But see, Next won't
but
be
that-
out next year,
people
though.
said the same thing about World of
But
Warcraft.
Landmark, well.
Landmark, but I don't know if that has the same pool as necessary the EQN would. So I think EQN will definitely have way bigger launch than any game right now. But Landmark is different, though, I think. I don't know if it'll have quite the same appeal. I
Still
could be wrong.
disagrees. Still disagrees.
I really think everybody who's excited for EQN is going to hop in Landmark, make their character, figure out how the game's going to work. All the fanboys are going to be in there. It's free to play. Come on now.
Gosh.
It's going to have a ton of people.
Yeah, I think too I was going to say between EverQuest Next and Elder Scrolls Online, I will think it will be closer than most people predict, because I've seen some news out there that seem to say like about 5 times as many people were looking forward to Elder Scrolls Online, but I think a lot of those people might be toward the Skyrim and Elder Scrolls single player type of things. EQ's got a big history attached to it, so I definitely think neither one may run away, but it may be closer than a lot of people think.
I'll tell you right now, the biggest launch for a new game, and mark the difference, the biggest launch for a new game will be Elder Scrolls Online. It can be the best game or the worst game out there, but it is going to be the biggest launch. There's no two ways around it. That is going to be the biggest launch. The most popular launch, I think, is going to end up being the WoW expansion.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I think if you're looking
Come on,
at pure
that's
number,
like-
looking at, you know how much I'm looking forward to EverQuest next.
No, but I mean,
But
that's like
but-
saying the WoW expansion is going to be big is like.
I think it's
Well,
gonna have the most
We've
returning
seen it
customers.
before.
No, I'm saying that.
WoW
like, the most
typically
obvious-
does pull a
the
bunch of
most-
people
the
back
most
in.
obvious answer is like. Well, of
I
course.
think it'll be a bigger launch, so to speak, than Elder Scrolls will, and that's going to be big.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
They're going to average at least 3 million people coming back
Yeah.
for the expansion. EverQuest, Elder Scrolls, WildStar, they're going to hope to pull numbers at that range, where WoW has already created this huge, it's just a giant. And, them coming out with the garrisons, and now they're listening to the players and pulling all the stuff out that they can for the players. I resubbed.
Yeah, no, a lot of people did. That's definitely one of our fast-growing guilds in Grievance.
Both of
Both of them, the Alliance
Yeah,
and the Horde.
saw a resurgence with Alliance, so that's
Yeah.
really great.
And the expansion hasn't even launched yet. It's just
Hmm.
they don't even have any updates coming up. It's just expansions coming soon. And people are resubbing. Silly WoW. See, as far as
Silly
new
WoW.
as far as new MMOs for me, and not counting expansions for older games, I think WildStar is going to be bigger than EQ, Landmark, and Elder Scrolls. I think it's just going to have more people because I think just looking at the news sites and looking at how many people are actually interested in these games, it seems like, you watch the EverQuest Next live stream that they do, and there's a good, maybe 1,000 people, 2,000 people watching it. But then you watch the WildStar live stream, there's like 8,000-9,000 people watching it on Twitch and everything, and then Elder Scrolls streams and everyone just laughs at it. It's like, who wants to play this game or whatever? But so as far as me, WildStar is gonna be. It's not gonna be my favorite, but I'm saying I think that's gonna be the biggest launch.
I think it also
I'm
matters.
noticing. A couple people on the chat here are talking about free level 90.
Yeah, free
Being
level
a big
90
pull.
in World of Warcraft. Yeah, definitely.
I think it matters also on when they're going to launch the game. I think a game like The Secret World had so much potential, but because they decided to launch it like a month or two before Guild Wars 2 was what killed the game. I mean, literally killed the game. So I think, that's why I think Elder Scrolls said, you know what, we're not going to wait for anyone to come out. We're going to throw our release date and get out there first. And I think it was a good call. For WildStar, I don't know if they've done a release date yet for WildStar.
They haven't.
Yeah.
So it's now this big game of when am I going to put the game out there and make sure that Warlords of Draenor doesn't come out, make sure that Landmark or EverQuest Next isn't going to jump into that population, and it becomes this big date game now of when should I release it, when should I get that population out? Because if they decide to come out on a May date and people are looking at Elder Scrolls a month later or two, they might not get all that attention in WildStar because people are immersed into Elder Scrolls Online. So it's a really, I think WildStar kind of missed the bubble with letting Elder Scrolls get the first date out there for 2014, but we'll see.
Maybe not. WildStar could launch in March.
Yeah, they could also.
Yeah, they're spring 2014, so we have a window there. And I think it was actually kind of a strategic move from their part for them to wait for ESO to make their announcement and then say, okay, we'll give you guys a month to settle in, and if this isn't the game that you're looking for, come play us.
Yeah, and
ESO gave
gave
the 4 months warning, and I was trying to remember back, maybe now a couple of years ago when Battlefield and Call of Duty were going to hit about the same date, and then one announced its release date, and so the other one then kind of slipped in about a week before.
Yeah. They bust a whatever you call it, Price is Right on you.
Yeah. That's how it happens sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, alpha for EQN Landmark is gonna supposedly be at the end of January. It's like, okay.
I said mid-January, man.
Mid-January. Well, let's see. It was Smedley that said this.
Yeah.
It was Smedley.
We're still talking to like alpha, beta there,
Alpha.
but people will be able to get into it.
Yep. And they've already had so much success with the Trailblazer packs that lets people in early.
Yeah.
They surpassed their own estimations, so that told me something.
Yeah. And when we were talking about the Elder Scrolls Online streams, we weren't talking about like people streaming the game. We were actually talking about the devs streaming for who is that? Dude, it's Bert. Yeah, there we go. So anyways, but okay, so we talked about most popular, what's going to be most popular, but as far as maybe something you're looking forward to that isn't the biggest thing, or it might be a little side thing, or something in 2014 that you're all looking forward to, and whoever can say whatever. Go.
EQ next.
EQ next.
What he said.
See, I guess for me, EQNL is probably going to be my little thing. Just because, again, I'm not a builder, and so I'm not sure how I would play well with that game.
Yeah.
I'm interested to get in and learn the game and learn what I'll be looking forward to for EQN, but how much time I'll spend in it, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I could be totally surprised. I may get in here and find it's the best thing in the world, and Steelheart's got like another member, but
Yeah. Maybe,
I don't know.
Maybe that's the game that would get everybody, besides Minecraft, liking building. Like how many people liked Minecraft, and then all of a sudden, it just blew up. Like,
See, I never could get into Minecraft. I get in there and I'm like, okay, what do I do? I'm lost.
very true.
Well, it's worth remembering it's not just going to be building. There's an economy to play with too. So there's the exploration part, seeing the world and gathering and possibly becoming this crazy merchant mogul, selling mass amounts of whatever you're good at getting.
For real money.
See, Yeah, I'll be a gatherer. I'm a little, and that's my other hesitation there, is that I don't want to ruin the exploration part now before I get into EQN. So I'm
Going to be randomized.
I know, but they're still like the same world. You
It's
know,
just gonna
it's
look the
this
same. You know what I was
the
disappointed
map,
in
so
when sorry EQ, but when they showed like the tropical setting. Did you guys see that video? They showed like the new setting,
Yeah.
and they're like, and here's our tropical setting, and it was like 2 or 3 different trees. I was expecting like beaches or something.
jungle.
Yeah, it was just
Oh,
like
they're still working.
here's our jungle, and
They're
then
not
here's-
even into alpha.
Here's our tropical, and it's the same jungle with like 2 or 3 different trees. So I was like, what is this?
Don't make me come over there.
And then, and then to top it off, they showed the winter. They're like, and here's our snow area, and it was the same little tiny palm tree or pine tree, and it was just spread out everywhere.
Have to design and make trees.
I know. I was like,
Sounds
man,
like we have a tree volunteer. Go make trees.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, man, we need some more trees in this game. It's like, so we are definitely gonna be playing in alpha because you can tell the game's kind of still.
Way to hate on shrubbery.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's what we're picking. Like, have we ever looked at a video like WildStar and be like, well, the shrubbery in WildStar is just terrible. Have you seen that giant flower in WildStar? It's
It's
terrible.
like, oh, it's just out there. It's like in the middle of nowhere, and what? It doesn't even belong there. What is it doing?
I know. Yes. Good old. That's how much we're looking forward to EverQuest next. Is the shrubbery is like, oh my gosh.
That's it.
They got the shrubbery wrong. Yes. Okay.
I'm sorry, Smedley.
And
Sorry, Smed.
I'd like
I'm
to
not
say
being
too, I
picky.
think one thing that's coming up nice about this next year, and not quite in the same as what we're talking because they're not necessarily MMOs, but there's a bunch of Kickstarter games that, we already talked about Star Citizen, that's its own thing.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of Kickstarter games that are already in alpha or beta and going to be coming out this year. Shroud of the Avatar, Wasteland 2, Divinity Original Sin, all those should be coming out here, and I'm looking forward to kind of seeing what the Kickstarter folks can throw together.
Yeah, and when one of the Kickstarters, I was telling Steele, then one of the Kickstarters I'm looking forward to is, I keep forgetting the dude's name, but they're gonna launch it probably this month. What's his name?
Brad.
Yeah, Brad McQuaid. Even though they screwed up Vanguard and everything, I'm still.
I liked Vanguard.
I
did.
loved Vanguard, like for what it was.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
you could see its potential if they had more time with it, but it just had to launch and they didn't have any money.
Crafting in that game is
is
great.
still
What's-
not finished.
Yeah.
What's
it's
the
still
game
not
that's
finished.
coming out?
They're gonna launch a Kickstarter. They haven't shown it yet, but they're
Oh.
waiting until the holidays are over, and they're gonna show it. But it's supposed to be traditional, old school kind of type of MMO, no action combat or anything, just your good old MMO, but kind of modernized. So we'll see.
Okay.
And they said fantasy, just fantasy MMO. So we'll see. That's what I'm looking forward to. Okay, so our last topic. Biggest flop of 2014. What is it gonna be? What are,
I could give you the biggest flop of 2013.
Oh, you could do that too. But 2014, what are we gonna be
We'll
sitting?
come back.
Okay.
What are we gonna be sitting here being like? I couldn't believe like how fast everything dropped out for this game.
All right,
Or could we?
we've been talking about this for a while.
What Steel?
Even though I think it's going to have the strongest launch of all the new games, I do think Elder Scrolls is going to end up falling short. There's just, and I could be wrong, but 4 months to go, and there's just not enough information out on the game.
Yeah.
They've been very closed about what they're doing. Call it a gut feeling. I just think there's going to be a lot of hype, just like Star Wars The Old Republic. Now, that isn't a flop by any means. They still got a lot of players, but
Yeah.
it didn't do as well as they thought it was going to do. And just like Star Wars The Old Republic, it's based on an existing franchise. And I think in the process of trying to appease the Skyrim players and the MMO players,
It's like how you gonna do that?
they're not going to make either happy, so they're going to come up with something in between.
Yep.
Like I said, could be wrong, but I do have a gut feeling that if you had to pick between WildStar, EverQuest, um, hell, even the dogfighting module of Star Citizen and Elder Scrolls in the WoW expansion, I think Elder Scrolls is going to be the one we're sitting here this time next year saying, man, that didn't last long at all.
Yeah.
You know,
I think
it
I'm-
doesn't
I think
seem
I'm
so far.
thinking the same thing.
Yeah, it doesn't seem so far that they've really discussed much about endgame outside of the RVR being the endgame. And as good as a game as Guild Wars 2 was, we've seen what happens when a game bases their endgame on realm versus realm.
I got a problem with that.
PvP. You can have a problem with it, but you look at the numbers and see your PvPers or PvEers left for the
There's
most.
a reason for that, though. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think they could have done so much more, and I think it would have played a lot better. I think that if they would have stuck to their original guns and done it the way they wanted to originally and locked our servers down, force people to make a server decision right off the bat, have the guesting like they said, but World v. World should have been locked in place. We wouldn't have had a lot of server jumping like we have now. We wouldn't have had a lot of people going from one server to another, staying there for a little bit and building it up and then jumping ship just so they could get the rank build up now, especially with the leadership boards. So I think they really messed up not locking the servers in a lot earlier than they did. And then they started making changes that weren't necessary to World v. World. If it would have been true to form like they originally had planned, I think it would have done a lot better. And they would have retained a lot more of their PvPers. And that's just my opinion on that. So if Elder Scrolls can pull that off, that might be something that they'll pull Guild Wars 2 members into.
Yeah, and the thing with Elder Scrolls, it's launching on consoles too,
Mhm.
so it's
A
like
month
PC.
late.
Yeah, but
And on a different server.
yeah, but it's
Yeah.
still, if you want to
That's
just
what-
count numbers.
That's what I was gonna say. I said that's for MMO wise. I think Elder Scrolls Online is gonna be on the PC wise. I think it's gonna have a big launch, but I think people are gonna start getting away from it pretty quickly. But I think where it's gonna shine is gonna be on the consoles, just because there's not that many games like that on the new consoles, especially the new Xbox One and the PS4. So I think they're gonna make a lot of money through the console sales.
Mm-hmm.
But on the PC, I think it's gonna flop after a couple months.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
how do you think console players are going to handle a monthly fee, a subscription? Because that's
I mean,
kind of new to
They,
consoles.
they
I
already
could
pay
answer-
it. I mean, they kind of
Well,
already
I could
pay
answer
one.
that from my brother. My brother, he's a big console person, not into PC games, and he pretty much outright said now him and his family wanted to get together and play this console-based MMO, but he's under the impression they would each need a subscription, so that was kind of out the window for him.
His impression would be right.
Mhm.
So we'll see.
I think on this topic though, and I'm sure Chad you'll agree to this, is people are looking for a Dark Ages of Camelot. People
Yes.
are looking for that immersion with
Yep.
our realm versus realm. If Elder Scrolls can bridge that and bring that back, it will take off. It
Yes,
will
absolutely.
go
Absolutely.
above and beyond everyone's expectations.
Mhm.
But it's got to be more than just one faction killing another. And you know as well as I do, the RVR and Dark Age Camelot was a lot more involved
Oh yeah.
than just. I mean, obviously the meat and potatoes was killing each other, but it was a lot more involved in the process to where you got to that point.
It wasn't
Watch
Zervies
the
or
watch the Super Bowl and you lose your relics and got to go back and get them.
Yep. And the server, it meant something. The server took pride in that, and that was what Guild Wars 2 missed out on. You had buffs, you had bonuses, you had things, and it's like it made a difference when you could say, oh my gosh, they took our relic. Let's go back and get it so we can get our buffs back, open up Darkness Falls, and kick some butt. That was what it was about. And Guild Wars 2 fell short of that. So yeah, if they could bridge that gap into Elder Scrolls, they'll really have that niche with those people.
Now, a future game that's going to come out in a couple of years, Camelot Unchained, I think, is going to be the one who's going to concrete that, and we'll all be playing that in a couple of years.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that one.
All right. So, we're all looking forward to 2014 then?
Yeah.
It's
Oh
in-
yeah,
Yep, 100%.
yes.
Hey, I was going to give in my vote though, because
What?
I didn't think about what until this cast. Steelheart saying that World of Warcraft was opening one up again, but I bet you the way they've gone in the past, you might get that boom influx of players, and yeah, again, it may not last depending on how long that lasts. Like boom, they're in, and then boom, they might be out again.
3 months. That's the typical length that a current WoW expansion lasts.
For the new one, you think so?
I don't know. They got a lot of cool things planned this go around, so it may last a bit longer.
They're rerunning a
I
lot
hope
of
so.
scenes. They're rerunning a lot of stuff on that.
I don't want to ever see any game fail.
Yeah.
Every time a new MMO comes out or a new FPS, 3PS game comes out, it adds something to the genre in general.
Mhm.
And I'd like to see them all succeed because that just brings more people into the genre that we can play with.
Yeah, and of course, I don't figure World of Warcraft will go away. They've been around long enough and a good crowd. We do have Gort asking about new stuff in first-person shooters.
Oh,
That's
we're
a
looking
dirt
forward
dog
to.
question.
that
What
reminds
are we
me.
looking forward to, Dirt?
Dirt.
Looking forward to. Coming up, like I said, Titanfall. That's going to be the biggest first-person shooter for the first quarter of the year. It comes out on March 11th. And it's not going to be a console port by any means. It's strictly making on the PC, and then the console is going to get a dumbed down version, sort of. Titanfall is looking really good. They haven't really announced too much other stuff. Of course, you're going to have throughout 2014, you're going to have your Battlefield 4 expansion packs come out. Now, Battlefield 4, when they came out, the original Battlefield 4, I didn't really like the maps. But the new China Rising maps, I love. I've been playing China Rising constantly now. Like, the same 4 maps, but they're amazing. The original maps I didn't like. Of course, you're going to have the Call of Duty come out, but it's going to be terrible, just like the last couple have been. And I'll probably end up buying it just because I love torturing myself every single year, thinking that maybe it'll have a good game. Never happens. So, and then the Division, well, it's not like a FPS, but it's the third-person shooter, and that's the end of the year. But as soon as new games get announced, though, I'm always one of the first ones. Between me and Nautica, we always talk about it. If you guys want to see anything, just let me know, and I'll look into it. The other game that I'm actually going to start playing tonight, yeah, Destiny. But as of right now, they haven't announced it for the PC. It's going to be, as of right now, for console only.
Mhm.
So it's good for you to have the next-gen console, but if you don't,
It's going to be on the old consoles.
Yeah, and the old consoles too, yes.
Yeah.
But then a game I'm looking forward to trying, actually I'm going to play right after this newscast, is Warframe. I'm hearing good things. We actually just started a bunch of people. We have a clan in there. So it's a free-to-play game. I'm about to check it out after the cast, and hopefully that gets started up good.
Yeah, and then the one I forgot about, it's probably not coming out in 2014, but I want to see more, is Battlefront. Battlefront, done by DICE.
Yeah,
Like
that's
imagine
it's gonna be a big
Battlefield
game.
4, but Star Wars. It's like,
That's going to be amazing if it's done correctly.
yes.
Because
if it's-
Battlefield 4 took about a month and a half for most of the bugs to get out of the servers.
I don't even care,
So.
man. Like, imagine like being in being in a walker,
that'd be
or
That's gonna be
or
good.
if they do it like
if
where
they go
like
that route.
yeah, because if you ever seen like some of the old videos of Battlefront, like the unreleased Battlefront, where people were going from like space, from like space fighting, and all of a sudden you go down to the land, and then there's the land battle going on and stuff, and oh my gosh, like if that happens, I'll turn from MMO player to this first person shooter. Sorry, like right away.
The converter.
Yes.
Like the first Battlefront, like I was all enthralled with it. Like to just be in a walker with someone else and they're all walking and you're all shooting the guns and stuff. Like,
Think they're gonna bring back lightsaber mode?
oh, I don't know. I hope so.
I hope so.
Oh,
There just
yeah.
needs to be
That's
lightsabers
nice.
and lasers and walkers and speeders
That's all you want.
and spaceships. Just all that.
And you're happy.
All in, yeah. All in one.
No, it wouldn't surprise
That'll
me.
make up for SWTOR, like all the way. Yeah. Disney can do it. Disney can do it.
Right.
Disney and DICE. Yes. The most violent Disney game ever. Yes. Okay. So anything else, guys? Any other things that you're looking forward to, or?
No.
Okay.
A bunch of new casts next year.
Exactly. So, Steele, maybe you can list off our cast for next year, or do you remember?
No. I definitely remember. Obviously, we have the EverQuest next. We'll be talking about Landmark and EverQuest next. Depending on what they let us talk about when Alpha launches, maybe we'll get to talk a little about the game. Maybe we won't. WildStar Newscast is out there. We have our Final Fantasy cast. We have a new and upcoming World of Warcraft cast coming up.
What a surprise!
What a surprise! What a twist!
You heard it first here.
We will have some returning streamers from our cast.
Yep.
Yeah, so that'll be nice.
Naomi will be back heading that one up, minus the pink bunny ears. We'll have to figure out what type of ears to give her this go around. We've got the Star Citizen cast. I've been trying to talk Dirt Dog and Nautica into doing an FPS cast.
It might happen.
That needs to happen. You guys need to do that.
So look forward to a bunch of casts. We've obviously streamlined a few, and we've got a few we're not doing anymore. But overall, we're concentrating more on gaming, which is what Grievance is about. So look forward.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess that's it for us for this year, right? Got no more casts coming up for the next year.
Nope.
So, like we would like to say, we'll see you next year. Right, everybody?
See you next year.
Bye. Happy New Year.
And then we'll look forward to you in about a week and a half when we'll start up all our casts again. And keep it rolling. So keep on watching. If you need to join, if you're interested in joining any of our guilds, just go to, grievancegaming.org?
Mm-hmm.
Or Grievance Guild. Grievance Guild, right?
Grievance Gaming.
grievancegaming.org. And then you can follow us here on Twitch. And then follow us on Twitter at Grievance Gaming. So you can either just watch our cast, follow us on YouTube, or you can join the guild and play with us, and maybe you'll be on a cast with us. And
there you go. Have a good time.